In this lecture, we are going to implement what we wrote before, the password.nasm in Python. And as I told you before, we are going to do every one of these things in the C programming language, but in here I just want to show you an example or a simulation for some mapping between the assembly and other programming languages. And because we were using Python so far, so I just want to do this fast in Python. So in here, first we create a file. Let me name it just password.py, and we create our program. If you notice, first we have a password function in which we have created something like a loop in here based on a condition, as I explained before. So we create a loop. I say define. So I create a function called password in here, and in this function I create a while loop. In the while loop, we want to check a condition. So the condition, if we look, was the value of a 3 inside a register, which means that we create a variable in here. So I create a variable, name it a is equal to 3, and in here I say while a is bigger than 0, I want these things to happen. First I want to get the user input, so I say input, what is your password in here. What this single line does is that it would invoke two different system calls. The write system call to write this, what is your password, and also the return. What it returns is that what the user is entering for the response to the read system call. So I want to save the return of this standard function into another variable. Let me call it b, and in here I say if b is equal to the password. So first, outside any function, I create my password inside another variable called p, and the password would be mgh12345. And in the function I say if b is equal to p, then I want to call another function called print success and pass it the argument of b, which is the user input. If you look in here, after the write and read system call, we have compared the two strings. So these 3 lines in here are equivalent to the if b is equal to p. Then we call another function which is equivalent to jump z print success, and then this would be else. So in here we say else I want to decrement the a, so I say a is equal to a minus 1, and then I want this to be repeated also, because in both of the print functions in here, the print success which we jump to exit, and also in here that we go to exit after the 3 times. So in here I say break, so that it would break out of the loop if the password is correct. Now the password function has been created for us. It's time we create the print success function. So I say print success in here, the name of the argument, anything that we want, b or d. The b would be passed and sits instead of this d arguments. It doesn't make any difference, any name that we want. And then in here I just say print the password is correct, and also I put the b argument in here. When we have called it, we have passed the argument b, which is what the user is inputting, and it would be printed in here on the screen. And in here we call our function which is password. Again, if you don't know some of the instructions or what we are doing in here, it's okay. I just wanted to create some kind of mapping between the assembly and the Python. So in here, and higher level programming languages, I guess. Now I press Ctrl O, hit enter, exit, and just Python is an interpreted language, programming language. Unlike the C, which it should be compiled, it would just be interpreted in here, and it wouldn't have to create an executable. So I just say Python password.py and hit enter. It asks the password. I want to provide wrong passwords in here. Well, we have a, well, yes, I have a problem, and the thing is that you should enter the string. So in here I enter in string, another one and another wrong one, and we have exited because 3 times of wrong password. Now I want to create a wrong password, then at this time again a wrong password, but at this time I want to input the correct password, that is mgh12345, and hit enter. If you notice, it says password is correct. Another time, just mgh12345 and hit enter, and password is correct, as you see in here. Later, when we are doing these things in C, you would notice that actually what we are doing in here, the p is equal, as I said, because right now in Python we haven't any executable, we don't need any executable, but in here in the programming languages like C, when we create such a program and we create a variable, a global variable in here, and we look at different sections in the executable that has been created afterwards, we would see that it's actually, it would be created inside the data section like what we are doing in here. So I think that's it. Again, if you want to just have a look at all of this, the code in the assembly in here, and also the code that we have written in Python, and just compare them to each other.